Just with a little introduction to myself, we're gonna kind of introduce everybody who is part of the teaching team here, the presenters, and we'll just take a minute or two and introduce who we are, and then we're gonna have Michelle share a brief history of the Hawaii Seed Growers Network, and then we're gonna get into the syllabus calendar and participant expectations, a little slideshow on that with all the information you need about this upcoming class, what it is, and I was going to say why it's interesting, but maybe it's not interesting to you and you'll decide not to take it. But my guess is if you're on this call, you're going to find the work that we're doing pretty interesting. But to start off, my name is Evan Ryan, and I'm on this call from the island of Maui. I live upcountry Maui in Makawao, just above Makawao town at about 2,100 feet. And it's a little bit cooler where we are, right between Windward and Leeward side. And I am a farmer and an educator, have Pono Grown Farm Center. And we are a production farm and education center combined, but we have about 2.5 acres in vegetables and another 6 to 8 acres or so in fruit trees that we're growing. Diversity is our main crop, so we probably have 30 plus varieties of vegetables growing and 20 plus varieties of fruit trees on the farm, if not more than that. And we're a market garden, so we go to market every week through a lot of different venues, including farmers market, food hub, CSA, grocery stores, that kind of thing. But then we're also doing a lot of education programs from little ones, preschool, kindergarten. So we have about 33 to 6-year-olds that go to school on the farm, and through adult education, farmer training programs, nature connection programs, a lot of things like that, school groups that come out to us and do programs, multi-week programs with ninth and 10th graders and college kids and post-college. So yeah, so a lot of different things that we're working with, including seed saving is a big foundational aspect of the work that we do. Kind of feel like I dabble more in the seed saving realm because the vegetables take most of our time getting them to market, but the seed saving doesn't take that much space to produce a lot of seeds. So it's become an integral part of our work here. And I'm going to pass the mic on to Marielle.
Hi, everybody. My name is Marielle Hampton. I'm an extension agent for intergenerational programs and youth development based on the Big Island. I'm just a really passionate advocate for local food systems, and I've had the pleasure of working with this team in seed education starting like 10 years ago or something like that. And so it's just been a real honor and privilege to keep working with them to help facilitate this educational series. I am not personally a gardener anymore or a farmer, but I do know how to work Zoom. And that's what I bring to the table. So I really enjoyed our series last year and looking forward to this one as well.
You're up, Nancy.
Oh, I am? Okay. Thank you. Aloha, everyone. Good evening. Nice to see all of you. Some quite a few familiar faces here. Um, my name is Nancy Redfeather. I live with my family on in Kavanui, which is an ahupua'a in the Mauka area of Kona. We have been here for about 30 years. We have a very small farm. Actually, it's probably like a big mala. I think it actually was a Hawaiian mala at one time. It's 1.2 acres. And our work here over the last 30 years has been to develop sustainable systems, especially for soil, and to experiment with crops that we want to learn more about and find ones that really like to grow here in Kona. So we've done a lot of trials with fruits and vegetables, spices. We did a big coffee trial for about 15 years, and we've also now been working on table grapes for the last 10 years. So I've been growing seed here on the farm for the last 30 years and working with all of these folks in the Seed Growers Network since 2010. So it's really, we're really looking forward to this second part of our seed production course. Um, Corn and squash are some of my favorite plants to grow. And so thanks so much for coming on tonight. And please put any questions you might have in the chat, and we'll all be happy to answer them. Aloha.
Glenn, you want to introduce yourself?
Okay. Aloha mai kako. My name is Glenn Tevis. I live in Holihua, Molokai at 600-foot elevation, farming with my wife, Jane, and my son, Iowani. We've been farming on our Hawaiian homestead since 20, oh, I'm trying to remember. It's been so long, since 1988. Um, we have about 3 acres of production. We have 6 acres fenced to keep the deer out, which is a major problem on the island. We grow fruits, vegetables, and seeds. I think we produce close to 50 varieties of seeds right now. And we started growing seeds in 2010 when Nancy Redfeather put together a 2-day seed saving workshop through the Kohala Center and brought in the A team from the Organic Seed Alliance, John Navazio, Matt Dillon, Frank Morton, and Michaela Colley, who taught us how to save seeds. And today is a full moon, so I planted so far pineapple, sweet potato, collards, and green onions today, just to keep the energy going. And great meeting all you folks.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Berton Price. Yeah, nice to see some familiar faces, some from last year and some new faces. My wife, Michelle Carrillo, and I operate Milk and Honey Farm. Been doing that for a little over 20 years now. And I also am one of the farm coach and advisors for Go Farm Hawaii. So I manage the Alai, the Hilo site at with Go Farm Hawaii. One of the field trips we'll be having is going to be there. And we've been doing milk at Milk and Honey Farm for a number of years, as well as seed saving. And we were large vegetable producers, organic vegetable produce for a number of years as well. And I could go on and on about all the different things we do, but I'm going to pass it on to my wife, Michelle, and she can tell you a little bit more about Milk and Honey and Hawaii Seed Growers Network. Thank you.
Aloha, everyone. It's wonderful to see all your faces and see so many of you here interested in growing out and saving seed. My name is Michelle Carrillo. I am here farming on the east side of Hawaii Island. We've been in our home here for about 25 years. Our farm is called Milk and Honey. We are in the Puna district at 500 feet elevation. And Berton and I have raised our children here. They've been one of our major crops here while we've focused on building our diversified homestead. We focus on tree crops. So we have a good variety of fruit trees, ulu, we grow taro, ava, and annual vegetables for seed crops. We also raise Jersey milk cows and chickens and bees. And we started the first herd share in the state of Hawaii for raw milk. Being on the east side of Hawaii, we have really high rainfall and really high humidity. So that has been a lot of lessons learned for seed saving, which we are really looking forward to sharing with you all and helping you avoid some of the pitfalls that we have experienced along the way. So we're looking forward to that. And yeah, great to have you all here. I'm actually just going to move on and offer you a little slideshow that gives a little bit of history about Hawaii Seed Growers Network and how we have come to this point so far. So thanks for bringing that up, Marielle. You can go to the next slide. Great. All right, so we got our start back in 2003, so over 2 decades ago now, Two of our founders, Nancy Redfeather and Lynn Howe, two amazing gardeners and seed saving extraordinaires, they began organizing seed exchanges on Hawaii Island. And the seed exchanges were very popular. They got so popular, in fact, that we would have over 500 people coming to one of these seed exchange events to gather seeds. Next slide. The seed exchanges were a great way for people to get inspired about locally grown seed and have access to locally grown seed and connect with other growers. But after about 10 years of hosting these events, Nancy and Lynn were a little dismayed to see that while so many people came to gather seed, there were very few people other than them that were actually producing locally grown seed at their own home gardens. So Nancy and Lynn thought about they could see how this was a real limitation for our local food security, and they decided to see if there was something they could do that could offer the kind of education that would be necessary to bring local growers up so that they would know how to save seeds in a subtropical environment, which is a lot different than temperate environments. Next slide. In 2009, there was a USDA grant opportunity called the Organic Research and Education Initiative that had the capacity to support a project that could kindle and reawaken a love of seed saving within growers across Hawaii. They envisioned teaching growers how to save seed in the long-standing manner of developing intimate reciprocal relationships with vegetable crops, the way our ancestors have done for generations before us. Lynn and Nancy worked with the Kohala Center to secure the grant funding and establish a statewide baseline assessment of farmer and gardener interest in gaining seed-saving knowledge. And this was a very interesting report organized by Dr. Hector Valenzuela. And this report confirmed there was significant need to increase seed-saving skills in Hawaii's farmers and gardeners, and they were able to organize the first statewide seed symposium that was called Hua Kahua, Restore Our Seed. Lynn and Nancy sought out support from the seed-saving experts, as Glenn mentioned, the Organic Seed Alliance. We had all the seed-saving rock stars over here coming to Hawaii with their huge team to lead and inspire Hawaii's growers to learn how to save seed. And from this event, the Hawaii Public Seed Initiative was born. The work of the Hawaii Public Seed Initiative was to work with communities of farmers and gardeners across the state to select, grow, harvest, store, and ultimately improve seed varieties that will thrive in Hawaii. Next slide. With the support of the Sarah's Trust, Nancy and Lynn were able to gather our local experts, and you can see them here. We have Glenn Tevis there on the right, Russell Nagata, Paul Massey, there's Nancy and Lynn in the middle, and Hector Valenzuela on the left. So they began to build seed education workshops and offer them on each of the main islands to growers who were willing to deepen their knowledge of seed keeping. The courses were 2 days long, and they took participants through a deep dive of all the intricacies of saving seed. And then this kept growing. In 2014, the Hawaii Public Seed Initiative facilitated a 3-day Train the Trainers workshop on Hawaii Island that furthered the seed leaders with the goal of bringing qualified seed keepers into our community that could then lead other growers to expand their knowledge. Next slide. And with this event, the Hawaii Seed Growers Network was born. There were about 8 growers who banded together, and we formed the Hawaii Seed Growers Network officially in 2018. Next slide. There we go. That was us, the 8 growers. Okay, next slide. All right. So initially, it was the 8 growers of us who gathered enough locally grown seed to launch the online marketplace in 2019. Since then, we have added 6 growers to the network, and we have grown from offering a handful of seeds, seed varieties, to over 100 varieties of locally adapted seed on the network, each variety carefully tended and selected by one of our farmers in the network. We also support many local schools and community groups with local seed to help them start up school and community gardens. And we assist community programs that aim to provide kokua to local families that are striving for food security. This past year, we were able to reach a significant milestone with the support of Sarah's Trust, and we were able to build our own seed and distribution center. This is an amazing milestone for us that really allows us to very carefully tend our seed collections and better support our community with local seed. Next slide. With the ongoing support of the Hawaii Department of Agriculture via funding from the Specialty Crop Block Program, we have been very generously supported to receive funds that have enabled us to offer education like this, to build our online seed marketplace, and ultimately keep bringing seed awareness to Hawaii's growers to help them be able to successfully grow out and harvest quality seed. Ultimately, we have learned that it is not enough just to save seed individually on our own farms, but we need to keep improving each generation of seed and spread those seeds throughout our communities to support community food resilience and security. So we would like to thank all of our funders. This is all of them you can see here who have helped us along the way for their generous support. Without them, we would not be here today.
All right, thanks, Michelle. I think I'm up. Will you go to the next slide, Mariel? I think it's all together. Yeah, that was great. Thank you, Michelle, for sharing our history. And as you guys can hear, that seed work it's like so ongoing, and it's taken us many years and a lot of hoops to go through to create a seed bank now here at it's actually here at our homestead at Milk and Honey Farm. That was kind of the big change we did this year. But all the different participants and different farmers and growers and helpers along the way, we wouldn't be here without them. So here we are, and we're going to talk a little bit about the nuts and bolts of this upcoming course. And we just want to begin with the dates, so you guys can have an understanding of what your time commitment will be for this particular course. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to have a farm field day. That's going to be the opening, kind of we're going to hit the ground running, we like to say. So we're offering that on 3 islands. It's the best we could do as far as we could stretch. So on Oahu at the Waimanalo Go Farm site, April 11th from 9:30 to noon. Glenn Tevez will be flying over there from Molokai to host that event. And what we're going to be doing on those field days at each of these sites, they're all going to be slightly different because they're all different sites and we're all different farmers. But ultimately, we're going to be showcasing our corn and squash. The purpose of this course particularly is what we call outcrossers, which is the corn and squash. For those of you who maybe went through our course last year, is what we call like the inbreeders. So a little bit easier to grow, a little bit easier to save seed from. I won't necessarily say easier to grow, but a little easier process to save seed from those inbreeders than it is with these outcrossers. So that's really going to be the focus of this course. So at these farm field days, we'll be showcasing some of those things, and we'll be doing some planting, and hopefully we'll have some things tasseling as well, so we can show some botany at the farms. But it also depends very much on the weather. For our Maui site, you guys are going to be with Evan at his farm, Pono Grown, in Makawao, and his is going to be on April 12th, and that'll be from 9 to noon. For those of you on Maui or those of you who can make it to Maui. And then here, Hawaii Island will also be on Sunday, April 12th, and that'll be at our Hilo Go Farm site. And that'll be with myself, and Michelle and Nancy are gonna hopefully join me. And that'll be from 8:30 to 12 at the Hilo Go Farm site. And once you guys get accepted to the course, we'll be sending out directions and all those things. And then the last field day will be the last day of class. We're going to have a on-site field day on July 11th, and that will be 8:30 to 2, and that will be our whole team will be there. We do hope that those of you who are on other islands can make it. We'll be doing harvesting and demonstrating. We're just going to have a fun field day. We're going to harvest corn and squash, show you how we bring them out of the field, how we process them, and then we'll also have a potluck and try to share some of the delicious food that we grew through the season. So something to look forward to as the kind of the highlight at the end of the course, July 11th. I hope everyone can make it who is able to, who's in the course. We can go to the next slide. So in between these opening field day and closing field day, we're going to have our online Zoom classes. So these classes will be on Wednesday. We'll be starting at 6 p.m. and we're hoping to go to about 7:15 at the latest. For those of you who are on the Zoom a lot, we find about an hour and 15 minutes is typically the Zoom threshold of receiving information. So we're going to try to keep it like that. And we did decide to go a little bit later than typically. Sometimes a lot of our Zoom classes, at least with Go Farm, we start at 5:30. But as we reach into summer, the days are longer. Many of us are farmers. It's a little easier for us to stay in the field and get it here on the Zoom at 6. So I hope that works for everyone. Our first Zoom class will be April 15th. We're going to discuss some of the history of corn and squash. Then we have April 29th. We'll review some soil health and plant nutrition. May 13th, we have irrigation. 27th will be botany. Run into June 10th, we'll talk about improvement and selection. And then as we wind down and head towards the final field day, we'll talk to you about harvesting, drying, processing, and how to store your seed. So that is our timeline. And let's go to the next slide. So our course goals, this is like our goal as growers ourselves, as founding members of the Hawaii Seed Grower Network. We really want to educate people on how to develop their capacity as seed savers. So that's really important to us. The work that we do is really valuable to all of us. It's important to us as growers. It's important to us as people. It's important to us as community members, and we want to share it. And there's a lot of little things with seed saving that could be really difficult, especially in our tropical climate where you can be really discouraged with trying to save seed and then not getting good germination rates later. So we really want to try to demystify that as much as we can for you. And in particular with this outcrossing course, it can be difficult to save true seed. If you plant some corn and then you're hoping to get that corn seed back, but maybe you had some other corn or your neighbor had corn and it was too close and now you have a whole different kind of corn. So we're going to discuss that and try to educate you on that. Or we will educate you on that. The other big part for us and hopefully for you too is that we want to expand the Hawaii's network of seed growers. Okay. We are actively trying, we're a network. We have various growers. Most seed companies gather seed from a multitude of growers. And we need that more here in Hawaii. We're not like the continental US where there's, tens and thousands of growers across the nation that we can pull seed from or contract seed from. It's us. We're out here. We're doing it. So we need more growers. It's really important to us and it's important work. You won't get rich doing it, but for all of us and for all of our growers, it does impact your income on your farm. It is worth devoting some field space to seed saving, whether you're getting a couple $100 every few months or a few $1,000s a year from your seed work. It's really valuable. And the other really important thing you'll learn with seed saving is that you're tuning up your varieties specifically for your location. An old timer told me it that way that you get some seed and it works pretty good, but it's your work to tune it up. You can make it better. You know, that's kind of the work of a good seed grower. So we're hoping to expand the network and you know, of course, inspire, you know, Hawaii's community of growers in food resilience. You know, this is a movement of saving seed is a movement of food sovereignty. You know, it begins there. So hopefully we can inspire everyone through this course as well. And certainly for me, growing corn is one of my favorite things to grow. I'm always inspired growing corn. This is about the earliest I've ever put it in, but it looks really beautiful. It's in the field. I've planted corn in the last few weeks, preparing for our first field day. So hopefully we'll have tasseling and be able to look at some field botany. And we'll also plant some corn as well on that day. So I'll show you the corn that will definitely be in time with the light and the warmth. So next slide, please. So those are our goals. And then what we have is our expectations of you as students or as participants. So we really want everyone who is going to be taking the course to attend both field days. You know, of course, we understand things happen. Life is all kinds of things can happen in life and you might miss it. But when you're considering applying for the course, you know, we do hope that you can attend both of those field days. And we do know it is a push. You know, for those of you not on the Big Island, there's a whole bunch of you that you'd need to make the trip here, and it would come with a cost, but you'd have a really good lunch and a great day, and I know that's how we move around the Lahui sometimes. We gotta cruise around. It's part of life out here. So we do hope that you can make those efforts to make it to both field days. We also hope and expect you to make 5 out of the 6 Zoom classes. So be in attendance. You know, there's a lot of information we're trying to cover in just a handful, just a short amount of time. You know, these classes are going to be packed with information yeah, try not to miss them. We do ask that you engage in our class discussions and Q&As. We've noticed, and I do a lot of different Zoom work with my Go Farm hat that I wear, and oftentimes there's not a lot of engagement and discussion in the Zoom, so we encourage it. So please don't, you know, be shy. Like, ask questions. You know, engage as best as you can. You know, you'll learn more. And there is some options. One option is that if you wanted to grow some of this corn or squash during the course, just on your own, you can purchase the seed through the Hawaii Seed Growers Network and grow at home during the course. And then if you have questions or pictures you want to share, it's kind of a nice way to grow alongside of us while you have access to our Hawaii Seed Growers Network team. For those of you who are maybe in the course last year, it was part of the course. We actually had all the participants grow out the different varieties while we ran the course. We're not doing it that way this year just because they're different plants. It's a little bit of a different timing thing, but so it's an option for you if you guys would like to grow corn and squash alongside. But as mentioned, we will be doing these field days, so there'll be some demo work, and we have lots of pictures and videos during the Zooms you guys will see. And then as we get to the end, we do ask that you participate in the program evaluation survey. You know, we're this series that we've done is we was part of a grant from Hawaii Department of Ag. So, you know, we're trying to meet those needs as well. So help us out that way. We appreciate it. Next slide. So the application process, Evan mentioned just briefly when we began, but the applications are due next week, March 11th. Okay, so please have your applications due or in by the 11th, no later. And then we will let you folks all know who's in the course by the 18th of March. Okay, so kind of a week from today, applications due, and then the following week we'll let you know, and then it'll be directions to the field day, and then we're gonna like kind of hit the ground running. It's springtime, so yeah, that's kind of how it feels on the farm right now, even though it's still kind of wet and cool. We were out, you know, prepping beds today, and yeah, the soil looks ready for planting, ripe for planting. So the application link will be sent via email, but I believe we are actually putting it in the chat as well. But if you missed it in the chat, or you don't see it in the chat, or it doesn't work well for you in the chat in some way, we're gonna follow up with an email, and it will be in the email, the application link. So I believe that is all my slides. Maybe one more, but I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Thank you all. And so we have any questions? Think if there's any questions in the chat or that we need to answer.
So April had asked if we'll be doing this again because she's going to be off island for the first farm day. And so I think that's part of the question is if you miss a field day or something like that, can you still participate or should you wait and see if this is offered again?
Well, the first part of the question, at this time, we don't have plans of offering it again. But it could be offered again in the future. We haven't really discussed that. Yeah, anyone want to chime in on that? I think it's, that first field day, I'd say is one of the more important ones. The introductory, get to meet everyone. But if you have some extenuating circumstances, I mean, we're pretty flexible farmers, and when we review applications, you can make a note of that, and then we can evaluate from there.
Great. And then the question from Florida, if you can't attend any of the in-person events, is it okay to still just do the virtual components of the course just for learning?
It's kind of like an auditing component. Yeah, I'd say we can. I'd say I encourage you to still apply, and then as a team, when we're reviewing applications and things, so we can look at that. But I think that we'll have room for you on the Zoom. It should probably be okay. Yeah.
Great. And this is a free course, is that right?
That is correct. Yeah, that's part of the where we were able to do it with funding. Yes.
Okay. If there's like a husband and wife who are going to be attending together, should they submit one application or separate?
Typically, I think each submitting an application is best. Yeah.
Okay. And then agricultural question, how deep of the soil does the soil need to be for corn?
Well, this is the rabbit hole to go down, right? How far do we want to go into the planting and corn? I think that, people are going to have different opinions of that. You ask a Hopi elder, they say to put the corn 14 inches in the ground. And then when I plant my corn, I put it in 2 inches, 2.5 inches. So, yeah, I think those are the kinds of discussions and great questions that we can have as we dive into the course. But yeah.
Okay, and Michelle just put the application link into the chat if folks didn't see that. We've got a question, is the squash self-pollinating?
I'm gonna hand it off to maybe Glenn. You want to answer some squash questions?
Yeah, okay. It can be self-pollinating. This is a male and female flower on the same plant. So there's a chance that bee will come and take the pollen from that plant and fertilize the female flower. So it can be, but we're treating it as a cross-pollinated plant because it can be pollinated from other if you grew 2 or 3 different squashes, there's a good chance they're going to be crossed between the different varieties.
Thanks, Glenn. I'm looking forward to all the squash stuff. Squash is my favorite. All right, does anybody have any other questions that we can answer at this time? Yes. So hand pollinating would work, right, Glenn?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I'd like to answer a question that I saw earlier in the chat just about when we're going to have the Costa Cuke again, because it really highlights why we're doing this work right now, which is we've actually, as a network, lost the Costa Cuke. And so we're looking for it right now. And so there's at least one other person on this call. If not, I know within our network, most of us have grown it. But the reality is like if we don't save the seed, then we can't perpetuate the variety. And this was a variety I brought back from Costa Rica, from a full jungle environment, grown by an indigenous community out there in a pretty harsh world. And it was like, wow, if this grows here, it'll definitely grow in Hawaii. And so brought it back and had some good success with it. And, fortunately, there is another seed company that picked it up. So we have found a source of it, although I looked at their pictures and it looks a little different than the original, what we were.
Oh,
But good news is, though, this past week I found a little stash of Costa Cuke seed on my farm. So I'm planning it out this next week, and hopefully we'll reclaim that one, and it'll be in the network within a few months. But it just highlights the importance of us all doing this work, and the more of us saving seed out there and knowing how to do it, the more we can perpetuate these varieties that can really support our success of food sovereignty and seed sovereignty.
Amazing. Thank you, Evan. Yes, what a perfect way to crystallize why this is necessary for all of us to be involved. All right. Any other questions? Now's the time. Tina wants to know more about the Costa cuke. Is it a salad cuke? Can it be pickled?
Yes and yes.
Mm, fabulous. Okay. Yeah, so thanks everybody for being here. So I'm going to go and post again the application link into the chat. But all of the information from today will be shared in an email afterward. And also all of the virtual meetings, including this one, will be recorded and then put online in a YouTube playlist where we've been collecting all of these videos. And actually, that's why we have some of the videos turned off, is so we don't want to post picture videos of anybody else unknowingly online, especially if we haven't had anybody like sign a release or anything like that. But okay, so if we have any other questions, now would be the time. Otherwise, I'll hand it back over to our folks here. The deadline was March 11th
Event.
for the application, and you'll be notified whether or not you were accepted by March 18th. So quick turnaround.
all right. Thanks, Marielle. Thank you, everyone. Appreciate you all making the time this evening, and we look forward to reviewing your applications and seeing you on the field days.
All right, mahalo. Have a good evening.
Hello, everyone.
Aloha.
Ho ho.